What's going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new season of Rogue to High Rated. Very excited to be back on this series after a pretty long hiatus. As you guys know, the last time we did the series was pretty much exclusively doing speedroids, as I was absolutely in love with the deck, loved everything about it, and then our boy Auroradon got the axe, and understandably so. If they're not willing to ban Helk, banning Auroradon makes the most sense. So, admittedly, the deck has been put on hold, and the two decks that I've been playing exclusively on the ladder as of the other day, since I finally worked up the ambition to grind some dueling book, because yes, it does feel like a chore sometime. If you, grind a dueling book for any amount of time, it does start to sometimes feel like a chore, especially against, depends on who you're playing against. If you have nice opponents that are decent human beings that aren't playing Mystic Mindburn, not such a bad experience, and you kind of just want to keep going again and again and again and again, like I find myself doing sometimes. But this season, we're going to be playing two different decks. We're going to be playing two different decks to start, and then as time goes on, we might do one less and more later. Just depends on how things go. But we're playing Marincess, and we're going to be playing Rika Sanavalon. This replay is going to be Marincess, pure Marincess, no sharks, as I've been, testing that build more and more, obviously in tandem with One Deck 1 Month. Kind of miss my sharks. Might see him back in the series. You might see him in One Deck 1 Month. Not entirely sure. Might be going over this replay and other replays like it on One Deck in 1 Month as well. So there might be a little bit of overlap there. So if you don't catch it in this series, you might see it in One Deck 1 Month. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and hop right into the replay here. And I don't think we're going to have the DB sounds on, just to make things a little easier. So yeah, we're going to see me win the rock, paper, scissors, shoe here against my opponent, which is F Capellan, versus me, Royal Aegis, with 322 rating, with my opponent's 471 rating. Opening hands, we have Ghost Ogre, Imperm, Spring Girl, Tactics, Pascalis to their Ronin Totem, Ash, King of the Swamp, Tearlament, Havness, and Swap Frog. So, yeah, this is looking like some kind of fusion between Tear and Spright, which, there does seem like there is some overlap. Merly is a level 2. Swap Frog is an Aqua. So is King of the Swamp, right? There's, some synergy there. Yeah, I don't know. Let's go ahead and get into this replay here. So I am going to opt to go first here, leading with the Pascalis. Pretty much a no-brainer at this point. I thought that was muted. No-brainer, going to normal summon Pascalis, summon out the Spring Girl here. And I was going to link the Pascalis into Blue Slug to add back the Pascalis. That's definitely a lot riskier. The only reason I would consider doing that if I really wanted to chain block the Sea Angel. But because if I do the other way, where if I link Pascalis first, I add back the Pascalis, and then I link the Spring Girl into Sea Angel, I don't have to search dive, but searching dive makes it so I can get to wave and a link 4. So it's just kind of unfortunate that I have to do it this way. It is what it is. If we would have opened Blue Tang, like Pascalis, I probably would have done Pascalis first and then Blue Tang, because Blue Tang can send something. We can add that back with the the Slug, and then link into Sea Angel with the Tang and chain block. We have to make a bit of a compromise here. We go for the Sea Angel, and he does Ash it. I'm like, all right, I have everything I need to be able to keep playing here, to keep going. So we go triple Tactics Talent. My opponent says he forgot that, Havness is a hand trap, which I understand. If you're new to the deck, you might not realize that all the time, at least very early on. But Havness would have been kind of strong. Would have gave me the opportunity to talents him if he would have used it on the Pascalis, and we would rip the Ash out of the hand. And at that point, it's up to how well he mills. He does have, King of the Swamp in hand, which is pretty strong. Could make a pretty powerful Floodgate. One of the reasons why I don't like Imperm, I don't know. I want this to be droplet some decks right now, because this tier deck is so insane, because oftentimes they might not have a board even established when you're playing. If you're going first, there's nothing to Imperm, and by the time they do put something up, you can't Imperm. If you're going second, they don't really have a board. It might be Kikalos and some random monsters, and then halfway through your combo, all of a sudden you're staring down a Kaleido Heart, a Dark Claw, and a Winda, and your Imperm is just sitting there in your hand doing nothing. So I don't know. Droplet and Chalice are looking pretty strong. But yeah, so we're just going to go into Anemone here. Anemone's going to revive the Pascalis. This is just business as usual. We're going to go to Triangle. Coral Anemone effect, go ahead and add back the Pascalis. Triangle effect, discard the Pascalis here. And then we're going to go ahead and search our wave. We know what's in hand right now. I know he has Swap Water plus King of the Swamp, which is really, really decent for him. So we're going to go summon out the Spring Girl, banishing the Slug. Then we're going to go ahead and link 4 into the Bubble Reef. Since we cannot go for the Argonaut here, and we do mill a Seahorse off of the Spring Girl, which is kind of funny. So our opponent will take a little bit of extra damage there. We have like kind of follow-up in the graveyard in the form of Seahorse and Pascalus next turn. And we also have Triangle. So lots of follow-up, 3 hand traps, and we get to basically draw a card during their standby phase. So feeling pretty confident. He's going to draw Solic. Standby phase, we're going to go ahead and banish the Spring Girl, I believe. And then we're going to draw Ash. One hell of a draw there, if you ask me. Going to read some cards. He's going to lead with the Swap Frog, which is totally understandable. He's going to pitch Ronin Totem. And right now, I'm thinking, you know, I probably have to hit the Swap Frog. I was thinking about hitting it with the Ghost Ogre, because if I Ghost Ogre it, he gets to dump a swap. But then he can, like, swap for Ronin, which still gives him a body on field anyways. I really wasn't super sure of that. Like, it wasn't going to be, like, the best Ghost Ogre. So I figured, like, ashing it or hitting it with Wave would have been better. Or hitting it with the Imperm. Hitting it, not looking back, Ogre might have been a little bit better. Also, my opponent was like, you know, can I still bounce it to hand? Yes, even if Swap Frog is negated, you can still bounce it to hand, because it says once per turn you can return 1 monster control to the hand. Semicolon, indicating that it's a cost. So it returns to the hand, and then the effect where you would gain an additional normal of a frog monster that isn't Swap Frog is negated by the Imperm. And he was kind of confused about that. He's like, oh, I special summon him. I'm like, yeah, I know you special summon him, but like, you can't, like, if you had like a dupe frog in hand and when you bounce it back, you couldn't get the additional normal of that, etc., etc. So now he's going to go ahead and normal summon King of the Swamp, and just go ahead and link 2 into Spright Jet or Spright Jet to attempt to bring back the Swap Frog. And then here we go ahead and hit this with the Wave, misclick, putting it to the top of the deck. Hit the Elf with the Wave, and then he just sets the Solic. Pass turn, we draw a DD Crow, which is like just phenomenal here. Standby phase, banish Seahorse, and draw, because we just need to see some form of like way to play. We draw into a Signet Mining, which is huge. We activate Pascalus, get back Wave. And at this point, once the opponent sees us getting the Wave in hand, he pretty much just admits defeat there. And Bubble Reef is just gaining plenty of attack in the process. So, you know, pretty standard turn there. The only thing I think I said I could have done differently was like Ogre the swap. He dumps a swap. He still Ronins for the swaps for Ronin. Still normal summons the King of the Swamp. Tries to go for the Elf and does like pretty much the same thing. The only difference I think is like, I think either way, if let's say I didn't have another hand trap past the Ogre, I think either way he would have gotten to get to like Elf plus Toad. Not entirely sure, but pretty sure. The Ogre, like I said, might not have been terrible. Or even just Ogering the Elf to get it off field would have also not been bad too. Because Elf is insane for follow-up. So here we are in game 2. My opponent opened up Swap Frog, Primeval Planet, Perla Rhino, Galaxy Cyclone, Called by the Grave, and Fusion Substitute to our Battle Ocean, Signet Mining, Infinite Impermanence, Spring Girl, Seahorse. So one going second card here, which is like not the greatest. So my opponent's going to lead with Field Spell. And a lot of times if I see them lead Field Spell, grabbing Rhino Heart, and then they normal summon the Rhino Heart, if I have something like Imperm or Valor or whatever, I'm more inclined to use it on that, because that means they probably don't have any other way to play. They might have a Sharon in hand, but then again, they need the discard for it. So like their hand is probably pretty weak if they need to like dump a name to Fusion to get into the Hit Kalos to keep playing. So I do decide to burn the Infinite Impermanence here. My opponent could have Fusion subbed the Rhino Heart and the Swap Frog, since it is a tier and an Aqua. He could have gone into Kick Kalos still to go ahead and either add or send. Pretty sure he could have done that still. 100%. Unless I'm like missing something about Kick Kalos. But that's an Aqua. That is a Tearlament. Definitely could have kept going. So a little bit of a misplay there on my opponent's behalf, but it is what it is. We're going to leave with Signet Mining, discarding the Battle Ocean. Would rather keep the 2 extenders and names that I have in my hand right now than hold the Battle Ocean. Not really going to offer me too much here. And I also want to go for Pascalus instead of something like Blue Tang, because if I go for Blue Tang, you know, excuse me, if I go for Blue Tang and he has Meta Noise, that's a really strong form of interruption. And if he goes for Blue Tang plus Meta Noise play, like he can go into Kit Kalos, book the Blue Tang, and then pop the set Blue Tang with the field spell. And then I don't, like, if I don't have Spring Girl, like, it makes it, like, exactly Spring Girl or Dive, it makes it, like, literally impossible to keep going. So I wanted to make it safe so I can allow myself to at least get another body on field to make him have to clear 2 things instead of just 1. So I think Pascalus is a little bit more safer, usually is in most situations, than just going for Blue Tang, because it just gets that extra body out in the field. And now they have to, like I said, have to worry about clearing 2 things instead of 1, because, like, the way to stop this deck, and the way my plays have been stopped many a times, is by stopping it very, very early. And he also has Call by the Grave right now, so going for a Blue Tang play would play very heavily into the Called by. Yes, it's a 1-of, but, like, it's just something to think about at the end of the day. So we're going to go for the Blue Slug here. And, I could have gone Pascalus into Blue Slug, but, like, it just feels so bad not getting an extender back off of the Slug, getting something that you, like, can't do anything with. So this is going to play into Call by pretty heavily. Speaking of playing it around it, he's going to basically turn off the Slug and the Spring Girl Effective Mill here, all in one, basically. 2 birds with 1 stone right there. And we're going to continue to extend, go into Sea Angel right now. Sea Angel effect, go ahead and search. Opponent tells me that he doesn't have a side deck built, which is, like, whatever. It's understandable. I didn't draw any of my side deck cards here, unfortunately. I didn't see, like, you know, DD Crows or whatever. So yeah, since we already have Battle Ocean in play, we're going to go ahead and grab Dive. I don't play 2 Battle Ocean. I don't think 2 Battle Ocean is correct. Never really have. Maybe, well, back in the day, pre-support it was correct, but new support I don't think it is. We're going to bring back the Pascalus with the Coral, link those into Triangle or Coral effect to add back Battle Ocean, activate Battle Ocean, effective Triangle, discard the Seahorse to go ahead and search, and then we're going to go ahead and activate Dive. Probably would have been safer to, I think there's, like, a safer way to play that out, because, like, I mean, well, to be fair, if my opponent had Ash, he would have used it on the Signet or the Sea Angel, so I guess at this point in the game, I'm feeling pretty confident in that my opponent doesn't have Ash Blossom, because if he had it, he would have used it. If he had Havanus, he would have already used it. So we just get a free Blue Tang out of the deck, dump a Sleepy Maiden, something we don't want to draw, you know, later on in our turns, and it's like a nice little extender kind of in the graveyard here. Can kind of help boost up our Link monsters. Blue Tang misses, like usual, revealing 3 hand traps, and then we're going to go ahead and equip 3. Our Argonaut is at 2,300, but his Rhino Heart is at 2,000 because this says fusion monsters and Tearlament monsters you control gain 500 attack. So we're going to swing over for 2,300 damage here, and we're going to leave our opponent pretty much on top deck here right now. With the cards that he is working with. He draws Dark Ruler, and that is just the game right there. GG, GG. And yeah, pretty self-explanatory matchup there. Nothing too crazy. The match ended up lasting about 16 minutes, so pretty short match there. We did have follow-up in the form of Pascalus to get back the Dive. We had Triangle in Graveyard if he cleared the Argonaut. You know, if we can negate something with the Argonaut. Bringing up the Anemone, that's follow-up as well. Triple D on Crackback could be pretty strong too. So yeah, that's going to do it for the replay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, I might go over this replay in One Deck 1 Month. I might do another replay as well, because I didn't go to locals this Tuesday to record Marincess stuff there. So we're going to kind of go on DB for One Deck 1 Month. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. As always, Marincess signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And last but not least, a huge thank you goes to our Divine Level channel members who are Tweeter0226, Pony Stark, Cadillacs84, Justin Lamb, HZH Cyber, and Mango. Thank you guys so much as always for your extremely kind and generous support of this channel.